In this video, we will continue on Chapter 11, page 322. We're on the bottom of page 322, where it says to create an income and expense graph. So from the Report Center, click the Company and Financial, and then double-click the Income and Expense graph located under Income and Expenses. So we will go to the Report Center up here. And then we will take a look at the company and financial. I also like to see it in list format like so. Here we are in company and financial, and we're looking for the income and expense graph. So we'll scroll down. Income and expenses down here. There it is. Income and expense graph. Going to run that report and see what we have next. I'm assuming we change the dates next because the screen is blank. Number 2, click the dates button and change the dates to 1113 to 3/31/13 in the change graph dates window. Number 3, click buy account button at the top of the screen and expense button at the top of the quick insight income and expense window if they are not already selected. And number 4, we're going to print this report, and of course we are going to put it print it as a PDF in our work. Alright, so number 2, we're going to hit the dates here, and the dates they want to be for the first quarter of 01/01/13 to 03/31/13, and we will run that. I'm going to make it a little bit larger like so. We now look like the picture, and we want to make sure that the buy account button is selected. So what we have here is the income and expenses by account, and of course the largest expense by far will be our cost of goods sold, because that's the cost of the boats, followed at far second place being the payroll expense, and that of course is represented by the pie chart here. Alright, so let's go ahead and print this, and we're not actually going to print it. We can't export it, but what we can do is print it as a PDF file so that we could save it and then upload it. So I'm going to hit the print button here, and I'm going to select the drop down and find the Adobe file, a PDF file to print as, and then we can go ahead and print this. And instead of printing, it will then save it as a Adobe file. So, which is also called a PDF file. Then we're going to locate where we want it. I'm going to put it, it's already going where we want it, but I'm going to go to the desktop, go down to our folder, which is AC 1320, and then select week 4, and I'm going to call this chapter 11, and it is an income and expense graph by account. And there we have it. So that will save that as a PDF file, hopefully. And then we can move on to the next item here. So if we scroll down, it then says close the window. Okay, so we can close the window like so, and move to the next page. Next page, page 324, has a new objective in the beige box of to create an accounts receivable graph and accounts payable graph. So from the Report Center, click Customers and Receivable, and then double-click Accounts Receivable Graph. Number 2, click Dates button and change the date to 3/30/13 in the Change Graph Dates window. Number 3, click Print. Alright, so let's run that. Back to the Report Center here, and we will then go to the Customers and Receivables here. We're looking for the Accounts Receivable Graph. So I'm going to scroll down until I see it. Here's one, Accounts Receivable Graph. Third one down, select that one, and there we have it. Number 2 then says change the dates. So we're going to go up to this Dates button here, click on the Dates button. We only have one date because this is a balance sheet report, which is as of a point in time instead of a time frame. The one point in time that we need is 03/31/13. This, of course, represents the amount of money people owe us in the accounts receivable. All right, and of course the people that owe us the most money are Freebirds in this case. So we'll be calling Freebirds because we have earned the revenue, but we have not yet received the cash. And we will continue to pursue the cash until received by tracking on the accounts receivable aging report. And then we're going to print this out, so let's go ahead and do that. So we will go to the print button here, and once again I'm going to print it to a PDF file, thereby saving it as a PDF file. And so we'll print this, and once again it's going right where I need it to go, so I'm going to keep it there and call it Chapter 11. Let's see, I'm just going to call it AR graph. That'll work. And save that. Alright, so we have now done that, and let's see what else we have. Number 4 then says, from the report center, click vendors and payables, and then double click the accounts payable graph. Alright, so that we can close this up. Back to the report center here, and we're going to go to vendors and payables now. So vendors and payables right here. And we want the vendors and payable graph, happens to be the third one down in the vendors section. Go ahead and run that report. And I'm assuming that we will have to change the dates again, but we need to go to page 325 to see that. And yes, indeed, number 5 says click the dates button, change the date to 3/31/13 in the change graph dates, and then we're going to print that report. Alright, so let's go back over here. Dates button once again. Only one date because once again this is a balance sheet account, which is a point in time rather than a time frame like the income statement accounts. Gonna run that, check that out, and we have our payable. So of course we only owe 2 people. We only have a few vendors. We had like 3 vendors. We had Malibu Teague and an MB Sports or something like that, and we only owe Teague and Malibu at this point in time $61.38. And let's go ahead and print that. So we'll print this one out. Once again, it's going to the PDF file. I'm going to hit the print button. It's going where we would like. I'm going to change the file name at this time to let's call it Chapter 11 AP graph. And save once again. Turning to page 326. 326, we have a new beige box at the bottom of page 326. With an objective of to create the sales by customer summary and summary sales by item report. Alright, so number 1, from the report center, click sales and then double click the sales by customer. Change the report date from 3/1 to 3/31. Number 3 says we're going to refresh and collapse. Number 4 says select the total in the sort by drop down list and then click the sort button A to Z, so we'll sort it A to Z. Number 5 says select the month. Number 6 says remove the date prepared, time prepared, report basis, and then we will print something that will look like this, as well as memorize it. And let's do that together. So we'll go back over here, back to number 1 on page 326. I'm going to close this window. And it says from the report center, click the sales and then double click sales customer summary. So we will go up to the sales in the report center. And we want the first one, the sales customer summary. Number 2 says we're going to change the dates, and of course now we have a date range because this is an income statement type account, recognizing income or revenue or sales. So the dates for the first quarter, January through the March. And if we just click down here, it will refresh automatically, or we can hit the refresh button as suggested by number 3. Then we want to collapse this. So the collapse button is here, which will get rid of some of that detail and just show us the balances. Now, of course, this is a very important report because this shows us the balance, the revenue basically by customer in this case. All right, number 4 says select the total in the sort by row. So we want to sort it from largest to smallest. So we're going to hit the total here and then sort by total. And then we want to get it from Z to A, so the only way I know to do that is to go into the Customize Report section, and then we're going to hit it and sort in descending order. So I'm going to select descending order. Now we've got the largest to smallest revenue. So our best client is Performance Rentals. We want to make sure to send them a Christmas basket and so make them happy. Number 5 says select the month. So we're going to go over here instead of the total column. We want to go to month. And then number 6 says remove the date prepared, time prepared, report basis. So we're going to go to the customized report. We're going to go to the header and footer and remove the date prepared, time prepared, and report basis. There we have it. Then we can print this report. Now this is back to a normal report, so we could just export this report to Excel because it is not a graph. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to export this report to Excel so that we can have one file, which would be good practice for the homework. So I'm going to create a new worksheet, and I believe it will be going to an existing workbook. I'm going to browse for that workbook, and it is under week 4. It's going where I would like it to go. And I'm just going to select chapter 11, which is the chapter we are on, and go ahead and export that. Once that happens, I'm going to open up the Excel document that was created. I'm going to rename the tab to Sales by Customer as of 03/31/13. Maybe dots in between. Like so. Closing that, saving that. Alright. Then we could memorize that report, as number 8 says, by hitting the Memorize button, selecting where we want to memorize it, which is our name, and they want to call it Customized, so we could rename it to Customized Sales by Customer Summary. And OK. And then it says to close this. And now we're turning to page 327. So back over here, turning to page 327, where we continue, and says from the Report Center, double click the Sales by Item summary located under the Sales by Item. And then number 12, change the report to, once again, the first quarter. We want to refresh. We want to see it in total only. From the columns drop down. And number 14 says adjust the column width to view more of the report on your screen. 15, remove the date prepared, time prepared, report basis, and then print that one out, which means we will export it, then we'll memorize. Alright, let's do that together. We're on number 11, back to 11. We're in the Report Center once again, which is this button if it's not open at this time. And we're in the Sales by Item. So we're in the Sales, we're going to scroll down and you'll see a Sales by Item down here. And then we want the first one, which is Sales by Item, and we will run that report. And number 12 says we're going to change the dates to 01/01/13 to 03/31/13. And there we have it. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller so that it does crowd out, but we can then see some more of the items here. Number 12 says refresh. We're good on that, and we want the total only. That's what we have here, so we're okay there. 14 says adjust the columns to view more of the report on your screen. We've done that. Number 15 says remove the date prepared, time prepared, and report basis. We do that by going to Customize Report, Header Footer tab, removing date prepared, time prepared, and report basis, and selecting OK. We can then print this report, which means we want to export this report to the existing Excel file. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the Excel drop-down, create new worksheet, and then I would like it to go to an existing workbook. So I'm going to select the second item, and it's already going where we want it to go, which is this Chapter 11 account. Then it will create a new worksheet within this workbook. Once it does that, we will, of course, just change the name of it to the name represented here, which is Sales by Item Summary as of 03/31/13. Then we can close it, save it, and then if we so choose, we can memorize this. So all we would do is select the Memorize button. We can then click in the front of this item and call it a Customized Sales by Item, saving it under our name like so. OK. Moving to the next item, On the bottom of page 327, we have a new objective of to create an accounts receivable and accounts payable aging report. From the report center, click the customers and receivable and then double click the AR aging summary located under AR aging. So let's do that. I'm going to close this report. Want to go back to the report center. We're going to go to the customers and receivables and we're looking for the AR aging summary right there. Go ahead and run that. There it is. Back to the book, turning to the next page, which is page 328 with a new number 2. Change the report date to 3/31. Then we're going to collapse this report, remove the date prepared and time prepared, and print this report. Alright, so let's do that. Then we'll memorize it and move to the next one. So back here, we're going to say number 2 says the date should be 03/31/13. There's only one date, of course, because this is a balance sheet type of account. Number 3 says we're going to collapse this report by selecting the collapse here. Then we're going to remove the date prepared and time prepared by customizing the report and going to the header and footer tab and deselecting the date prepared and time prepared and selecting OK. Number 5 says print this report, and of course for us printing means to export it in this case. So once again we will export this report to Excel by hitting the Excel button, create a new worksheet, and we want it to go to an existing workbook and it should be going where we want it, which it is. So I'm going to hit export. It will then create a new worksheet and I'll just rename that tab like so, double clicking on it and calling it an AR. Now you can't put a dash there because Excel sees that as some kind of code, so you just have to call it AR aging summary 03.31.13. Closing and saving and moving on. Oh, number 8 says we're going to memorize it, so let's go ahead and memorize here. And we want to add the word custom before it, so it's a customized AR aging summary, and saved. Back to the book. We are now on number 10. Number 10 says close the AR aging summary, and then number 11 says from the report center click the vendors payable and then double click the AP aging summary. Then we will remove the date prepared, time prepared, and change the date to 3/31. Then we'll print that report. Should look like this right here. So let's do that. We will close this. And then number 11 says we're going to be in the report center, which is open right here. We're going to vendors right there. And we want the AP aging report. So here's the AP aging report. We're going to go ahead and run that. And then let's go ahead and change the date to 03/31/13. Once again, this is a balance sheet type of account, so it's a point in time. Then we can customize header footer, remove the date prepared and time prepared, and select OK. Then we're going to print this report, and we are going to just export this report. So I'm going to go to Excel up here, create a new Excel worksheet, and then of course it's going to be in an existing worksheet. It's already going where we want it to go, so that's good. Going to go ahead and export that. Once that happens, once again, we will change the tab to be AP aging summary as of 03.31.13. Close it, save it. And then they want to memorize it, so we can memorize this report, and we'll change the name to customized, and there we have that. Okay, next page, moving on to page 329. Down to the bottom of 329, it says to export previously memorized reports. So then number 1 says open the customized income statement that you previously memorized. I hope I did that right. Okay. Then click the Excel button on the report button bar. Create a new worksheet from the sub menu, and then click Advanced button in the Send Report Excel window to view advanced options such as formatting, printing, as shown in figure 1116. Make sure the options check in the advanced Excel options window are the same as shown in 1116. So I'm not actually going to print this report because we exported it last time, but let's just pull up this report so we can see where it would be at. So we would go to the memorized reports. So we're going to go to the Reports Center. We're going to go to the memorized reports. We put it under our name. And this was the income statement, which I didn't put customize on that one, but I should have. And we can run that. And then, of course, I'm not going to export it again because we exported it last time. But we could just, if we went through the practice, it says create new worksheet. They want, and again, I'm not actually going to export it. And then go to advanced. And they want the advanced settings to be as shown in the screen. So they unchecked these items, which are include QuickBooks export guide. So that's that first sheet that pops up, so we could get rid of that. That's probably a good idea to do that next time. Create backup worksheet during the update. Okay. Okay. So we aren't going to actually do that, but we've been exporting this whole time. So we will move on to the next page. Number 6 says, now click export. So we're not going to do that. Select N12 and report just export. Note that the export process has created a spreadsheet that has been numerated values and formulas as shown in 1117. Click the File tab and print. We're not going to do that. Click the setup, and we are just going to move on to the next page. Okay, click the File tab in Excel and exit. So we're going to move on, and that's the end of Chapter 11. All right, now, of course, now if we were to upload this file, we have some PDF files now. So there's a couple things we could do to upload this. Notice that we have all this stuff related to Chapter 11, and we could upload this and all of them separately. That could be a little frustrating to the person receiving it. So another way we could do that is we could make another folder and call it Chapter 11, and then we could put all of this stuff into that folder like so. Now, if we were going to put this into an email, we still couldn't do it. We can't really attach a folder to an email or upload it to Moodle as a normal folder. What we can do, though, is upload a zipped file. So if we wanted to upload all this at one time, including all those PDF files at one time instead of having separate uploads, we can right-click on this and send to a zipped file. That creates a duplicate. So this file is zipped, meaning it's compressed, but more importantly for our purposes is that it's also able to attach. So that is as important as the concept of making the file smaller. So zipping a file allows you basically to attach one file with multiple documents inside of it. So when you upload to Moodle, you could just zip that if you had that issue and upload in that way. Similarly, you could do that to anything that you send. If you had a bunch of pictures you want to send, you're probably better off zipping the file for both reasons. One, it's better for the recipient to see because they can open it in one file instead of a bunch of different uploads, and two, it does decrease the size of the file. Alright, so that is it for Chapter 11.